In this concluding part 3 about the significant third holy day, that is the 12th day of Rizwan, we will hear Baha'u'llah's words in speaking of that king of the festivals. But first, it'll be remembered that this historic and unequaled event took place in the Nabatean garden outside the city of Baghdad, subsequently referred to by the Baha'is as the Garden of Rizwan, and that the first holy day occurred with Baha'u'llah's declaration as the promised one was on April the 21st, and heightened further on the 9th day that had occurred on April the 29th, when his family would joyfully join him in celebration. But now the time was fast approaching in furthering his mission, and Baha'u'llah revealed these words on May the 2nd, 1863, about his departure from that vaunted and revered Rizwan garden. And when the appointed time of tarrying was fulfilled and the decree of departure was received, the beauty of the All-Merciful arose and went out from the Rizwan garden, riding upon the finest stallion. Blessed then be the All-Glorious, who appeared in the world of creation with a sovereignty that transcendeth the heavens and the earth. As he departed, he would go on to say, a cry of sorrow ascended from the garden and its trees and leaves and fruits and walls and air and ground and pavilion, while the dwellers of the deserts and the wilderness and even the very dunes and the dust of the earth rejoiced at his approach. Baha'u'llah also describes his departure in these words. In the arrival and departure of the ancient beauty, the signs and tokens of God were made clear and evident, and the light of revelation was made to shine forth in the plenitude of its glory. Verily, his majesty was exalted, his power was magnified, and his sovereignty revealed. Shoghi Effendi's description in God Passes By speaks of his departure this way. The departure of Baha'u'llah from the Garden of Rizwan at noon, May the 2nd, 1863, witnessed scenes of tumultuous enthusiasm, no less spectacular and even more touching than those which greeted him when leaving his most great house in Baghdad. The great tumult, wrote an eyewitness, associated in our minds with the day of gathering, the day of judgment. Believers and unbelievers alike sobbed and lamented. The chiefs and notables who had congregated were struck with wonder. Emotions were stirred to such depths as no tongue can describe, nor could any observer escape their contagion. Mounted on his steed, a red stallion of the finest breeds, the best his lovers could purchase for him, and leaving behind him a bowing multitude of fervent admirers, he rode forth on the first stage of a journey that was to carry him to the city of Constantinople. Numerous were the heads, Nabil himself, a witness of that memorable scene, recounts, which on every side bowed to the dust of the feet of his horse and kissed its hoofs, and countless were those who pressed forward to embrace his stirrups. How great the number of those embodiments of fidelity testifies a fellow traveler who, casting themselves before that charger, preferred death to separation from their beloved. Methinks that blessed steed trod upon the bodies of those pure-hearted souls. He, God it was, Baha'ullah himself declares, who enabled me to depart out of the city of Baghdad, clothed with such majesty as none except the denier and the malicious can fail to acknowledge. These marks of homage and devotion continued to surround him until he was installed in Constantinople. On the significance of the Rizwan celebrations as spoken by Baha'u'llah, this is the festival wherein the beauty of the unknowable essence hath appeared unveiled and arrayed with such sovereignty as to lay low the necks of them that have repudiated his truth. All hail then to this, the festival of the Lord that hath appeared with supreme dominion. This is a festival wherein all things have been absolved by virtue of the appearance of him who is the ancient king from behind the veil of names. Wherefore rejoice in your hearts, O people of the world, for the breezes of forgiveness have been wafted over the entire creation, and the spirit of life has been breathed into the world. All hail then to this, the festival of the Lord, that hath appeared above a day spring of resplendent holiness. To conclude, no greater are such words by Baha'u'llah that can better all understanding of such immensity inherent in the 3 holy days, that is, in the cradle of Rizwan. The 12 days of Rizwan and its significance, known as the King of Festivals, is again intoned in these words by Baha'u'llah. This is the day in which God's most excellent favors have been poured out upon men, the day in which his most mighty grace hath been infused into all created things. It is incumbent upon all the peoples of the world to reconcile their differences and with perfect unity and peace abide beneath the shadow of the tree of his care and loving kindness.